What up, guys, and welcome to a new festive episode of the TBI Podcast.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep, and this one is going to be pretty festive, hopefully, because we're joined by a new guest who you've probably already seen on the channel. Everyone, meet Kage.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. The holidays are drawing near, and it's going to be quite an improvement over last year, I must say.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, because this time because last year, I'm not sure if I brought this up, but my family had to spend Christmas solo, so it was just the four of us on our own, which was upsetting, but this year we're going to our other household, so yay.
Yeah.
So, how have you guys been since the last podcast?
Not bad. I mean, for me, life was more busy because I started recently working, so, and the college out in the way, and yeah.
Nice.
A lot going on my end.
So, anything interesting happening on your ends? Got any plans for the holidays this year, guys?
My family and I are taking a trip for the Christmas day.
Yes. Sounds like
I'm
fun.
gonna be at home.
Dudley, what about you?
I'll be doing what we usually do every Christmas and going to my mum's parents on Christmas Day and then being at home with my dad's the next. So, fun, the usual Christmas.
So, what about you, Kage? Got any plans for the holidays coming up?
I'm usually not like a big celebrating stuff, so usually I keep it like festive with friends and like have a meal or two, that kind of stuff.
Alright. Well, usually at this point during our Christmas podcasts, we dive into our Christmas stories, but we've kind of basically gone through all of them. So, we'd like to take this opportunity. So, Kage, the stage is yours. Do you have any memorable holiday stories that you'd like to bring up?
Dear Lord. I think the most memorable ones are probably from a long, long time ago. I think I remember Christmas the most during primary school. I'm sorry, taking it all the way back.
It's when it's best when you're a child. So carry on.
No, I remember we had like these school dinners, Christmas, and so random. I was eating my food, and two of my classmates were like staring at me, and I was like, "Why the hell are you staring at me?" And they were like, "What the hell is Christmas actually?" And I was like, I was like, "Are you serious? Have you not been paying attention in class?" Stupid stuff like that. Like every time there was food at school during Christmas, I think like 90% of the time, the kids could not care less about Christmas, but just like pigging out, that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that can happen. I mean, where is it you're from, Kage? I'm curious.
From the Netherlands.
Alright. I was beginning to say, because, I'm sure some people in America might have that problem, like, because over there they celebrate they celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, so there's gonna be some holidays that people aren't celebrating the same time as you, so who knows? Similar situation.
So that's one that comes close to mind, I think.
Alright. So, yeah, just ignore me, I'm having Sour Patch Kids. Just in case you're annoyed at the chewing noises during that, but anyway. So yeah, the holidays are drawing near, everyone's wrapping up their gifts for everyone. I know for a fact that I've very nearly finished everyone's presents. All that's left now is to get something for my brother and for my dog.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've got a few things planned, but not everything yet.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I've always been told all my Christmas shopping. I've got some bits and bobs here and there to get, but I'm mostly covered now, so yeah.
nice. Well, in the spirit of the holidays, I think it would be interesting because in the spirit of goodwill, we've often been looking forward to receiving presents and such, and so in the past, of course, we all had those particular toys that everyone collected. So I was curious, what collections or toys have we famously collected in our lives?
That's a hard one.
Dudley?
I mean, do I need to say it?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious.
About me.
Yeah. Stickers.
No, I think you might be a bit disappointed about this one.
But for those of you who don't know, why don't you explain, Dudley?
Well, I mean, are we saying what did we ask for Christmas for collections, or are you talking about generally what sort of collections?
Just generally, like if we did try to form collections of different things and such.
Yeah, okay. I mean, obviously, Pokemon's the big one, so, you know, I go on and on about it. Like, I'm still collecting Pokemon stuff to this day. But some Disney stuff here and there. Do like to collect Lego every so often and things like that. One thing that does spring to mind is never really collected stamps, but I had once I was given 7 Harry Potter stamps that were sealed, like for each book, and I thought it would be like quite good collectible one day. And then one day, when my brother was quite young and got into my room, he opened it, and I was like, no!
Oh, no.
So that springs to mind. But yeah,
no.
so,
I admit, and I am still quite a collector. Nowadays, it's more about the novelty side of things. Like, if I see something and chuckle to myself, like, classic. You know, I might like to have one of these around, and that explains why I have Lefty, my friend, with me, the hand puppet you may have already seen on my channel.
Yeah.
But when it comes to majorly collecting things, there's quite a number of things. I think one toy that I remember collecting were Mighty Beans.
oh.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what Mighty Beans are, basically they're like these little plastic little jelly bean characters, and within each of them there was like a little metal ball bearing, and you like send it down a slope and it like flips around rolling because the magnet's within them. And I thought, these are cool. I collected those for quite a bit, and I still have them because, like Dudley said, maybe someday they might be of some value.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I used to connect well, I still connect now, obviously, but I used to be a huge fan of connecting Doctor Who action.
Doctor Who action figures.
And when I was a kid, obviously I used to play with them quite a lot, and then now and then I accidentally break them by accident, because they're quite easy to break. But now I'm trying not to, but I'm getting into this addiction, quote unquote, on connecting Daleks.
Ah, yes, the most iconic Doctor Who characters that the show has produced. Yeah.
It's kind of hard, now really hard to find as well, so, yeah.
I mean, you quite like your paranormal stuff too,
And my paranormal, yeah, but I wouldn't really say those are the things I got from Christmas, no.
So what about... Oh, carry on.
Oh, sorry. I thought of another one because one of the things I did last was I still haven't opened it because I figured it was quite iconic. But I got the Lego double decker couch from the Lego movie.
Oh,
Right.
And it's like
Nice.
all the main characters there, so it's like, oh, it's gonna be good. But maybe I shouldn't open that one. I don't know.
Right.
the
Well,
only thing apart from action figures I used to collect was also Lego, and I saw like lots of Lego from Christmas and birthdays now and then. But I haven't been collecting them as much because I'm running out of room.
the eternal struggle.
Yeah.
Only thing I recall collecting in my youth was it was all about the Barbies.
Oh wow.
I see.
Yep. The dolls, the movies, the little outfits, all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can picture it. So what about you, Kagi? Were there any things you collected in your youth?
I think it was several things. I think there was one period I did a lot of Beyblades, spinning tops,
Ooh.
and I played around with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But the biggest thing I collected probably was Legos and action figures.
Same.
Nice.
It's funny. For me there was the Pokemon craze. Digimon kind of flew over my head except for the cartoon. And when it came to Beyblade and stuff, and Yu-Gi-Oh, I didn't really collect it. But I think I had one Beyblade, so it's interesting.
It's the idea behind Beyblades is pretty cool, but I never officially saw the animes, but I don't know why, it just seemed pretty silly to me. Like, the fate of the world was in the hands of these kids who spin tops at even more dangerous tops. 3, 2, 1, let her rip.
No, but I will say, I used to watch that show when I was about 11. I used to watch a show when I was about 11 years old, so it seems like the coolest thing ever.
I see.
I think that.
What's up?
Dang it, Siri. Shut up. Sorry about that.
What?
It's okay. No. The first 3 seasons are the best, and after that, they just kept milking it with nonsense.
No.
Right. One thing that I do remember, this was a little bit past my time, but I still found the idea of it pretty cool. But surprisingly, Bakugans made a bit of a comeback. For those of you not too familiar with Bakugan, basically, they came out at my first year of high school, so it was just past my time. But I still admired the idea of it, because it just combined so many things into one. Because you've got this card game in the same style as Yu-Gi-Oh!, but it also was combined with magnets and Transformers and marbles. It was just the ultimate combination of toys. Because each card was partly magnetic, and you toss these little plastic marbles that, when they land on a certain card, they become magnetized and transform into a little caricature of a monster.
Yeah.
Wow, it was just so many things rolled into one. It was like, wow, that's cool.
See, I compare that to Beyblade because it was about throwing a small plastic thing on the floor and then seeing what happens, in that regard, which is interesting,
Yeah, I remember my brother collecting them for quite a bit, and I was just fascinated with how each one was designed. Like, originally they started off with just sphere monsters, but eventually they began branching out into different shapes like cubes, cylinders, pyramids, and such, and each one became a different monster. Like if it was a circle or a sphere, it would turn into like a dragon with its wings outstretched, or if it was a cylinder, it would turn into like this outstretched serpent creature, basically.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was cool.
I kind of want to add, you know, when not too long ago, fidget spinners were the craze.
Oh, I was going to mention those.
Well, I was going to say, how many people here ended up with at least a fidget spinner in their possession?
Me.
Yeah,
I still have them.
Yeah.
A friend. I was like, thank you, but like, I didn't end up buying one. But I still ended up getting one.
I think I had this like really cool fidget spinner, and it was like really shiny, it was really pointy and everything. It was really unique. And then someday, I don't know what happened, but I think I was running my bike, and it must have fallen out of my pocket, and I was really disappointed on that day.
Oh no.
It was like a really cool one. And then I lost interest in them later on.
I mean, I got given my one. It was a basic blue one. I just got it for the sake of saying, I got this when it was around.
That was the thing. It
So,
was very popular in my school.
yeah.
There's something therapeutic about, like, I guess the appeal was there were loads of different shapes, and it was like a bit like having a stress ball, except you could spin some in your hand for ages.
I think even one time in my school, they even banned the fidget spinners because they were using it too much in class.
Yeah, because that happened that happened in my school as well. Back when I was in high school, like every term or so, the students would just collect a certain item, and because our school was right next to a corner store, so they would often go in there, and whatever was available, they'd just get that to help pass the time. Like one year it was rubber bouncy balls, the next it was rubber bands, the next it was like these little gel hands on a string that you just pull it back and you twang it at different surfaces. I distinctly remember one student accidentally twanged his like right up into the ceiling, and it got stuck up there, and nobody removed it, so it was there for like 3 years. So yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that sums up what people are like in my high school. So yeah.
It actually brings me back because I think Michael started it and you then finished it about fidget spinners being forbidden at school. And when I was in primary school, say me and my classmates in the Beyblade animated show a little bit too much as kids. So we used to Beyblade around the school, everywhere in the school, at the point where the teachers would only hear the Beyblade spin, and they would just like start shouting, "Get that nonsense off of here! Get it away!" We'd like get in trouble like instantly. And I think this one time, I mean, I was pretty crazy as a kid. I launched my Beyblade off a stairway and it almost hit the teacher in the head.
Oh god. Oh.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was like a crazy period where the school was like, they had to like write it down and like post it against the wall. She'll be like, it felt like I was in an anime. It said, "No Beyblades allowed."
Oh wow.
In my primary school, we banned Pokemon cards. Like, it's like, oh, we're all socializing and trading and getting along and stuff. Oh, we're gonna ban them. Like, if we catch them on you, they're gonna confiscate them. It's like, oh, great. We just had to sneak them around.
Oh my god.
Nowadays, whatever items you collect, if you collect a certain item, you're the cool one now. So just keep that in mind. To anyone else listening, if you collect stuff, you're cool.
Yep.
Happy holidays from the TBI Podcast. Well, I, for one, am looking forward to Santa's visitation this year. Aren't we all?
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the thing is, you need to remember, just because people celebrate Christmas worldwide, doesn't necessarily mean that it's celebrated in the same way. And as a result, many of the famous gift givers take on completely different appearances around the world.
Yeah.
And so, to be diverse, I thought we'd take a tour around the world just to find out what the famous gift givers are like elsewhere.
Okay.
So, I've got this first one here. Apparently, in Russia, instead of Santa, they have Det Moroz.
Oh.
According to legend, a woman had 2 stepdaughters, one wicked, the other nice. One day, she threw the kind girl out into the cold, but soon Det Moroz, or Father Ice, appeared on his sleigh. He was so impressed with the girl's kindness that he gave her diamonds. When the stepmother heard of this, she threw the other girl out too, but Det Moroz didn't like her and quickly turned her to ice.
Wow.
So if you're naughty in Russia, you'll be yet another victim to the cold.
Hmm.
Father Ice. So, yep.
If you're nice,
Russians do not mess around.
So what was that you were going to say, Dudley?
I said, but if you're nice, you'll get diamonds, right?
Yeah.
I want to go there now.
That's economy.
I've been nice this year. Okay,
Yeah.
so from Russia, let's go to Hungary to learn about Mikulas. If you're bad in Hungary, you might find only a wooden spoon awaiting you on Christmas morning. The country's version of St. Nicholas is known as Mikulas. Children leave a boot on their windowsill in hope that Mikulas will fill them with treats. Good children will receive fruits, candies, toys, and the like, but bad kids can expect nothing more than a wooden spoon. Why a wooden spoon, of all things?
I don't know.
Maybe a corporal punishment thing?
I mean, I always had that in my childhood, to be fair. Like, It was always, my parents would be like, oh, if you misbehave or you don't, if you're not good, then all you'll get is a wooden spoon for Christmas. Like, there's not a whole lot you could get for, like, that. As they didn't warn me, they were just saying, oh, if you're bad, you'll just get a wooden spoon for Christmas. But I was like, a wooden spoon is better than a lump of coal to me, but, like, still,
You can,
a bit more.
I don't know, a wooden spoon
Yeah,
can
you
be
It's a
anything.
wooden spoon.
Yeah, just leave it to the imagination and a wooden spoon can do wonders, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's your wooden spoon. You're not getting an Xbox this Christmas.
Help
Jeez.
people with it.
Okay, so here we go to Japan. So, and the gift giver there is known as Hotayosho. Like Santa, he's an old man who carries a big sack over his back. But unlike Santa, he's got eyes on the back of his head and he uses them to know when children are naughty and nice.
Oh.
No
So-
escaping that one.
Well, I guess I can see some sense in that because as soon as your back's turned, the kids might misbehave, and so having a being with eyes literally on the back of his head just saying, hey, wait a minute, I knew you were being naughty.
Exactly.
That's
Hilarious.
Well, I mean, Japan's got a lot of unusual folklore. Some I won't dive too deeply into because some of them are just horrific.
That's tough.
yeah.
From Japan, we're going to France. And
Okay.
maybe Rowan and Dudley, maybe someday we'll go there as well.
Yes.
One day.
Yeah. Anyway, in France, Santa is known as Père Noël. Like his
Christmas.
Like his American counterpart, he gives presents to children who have behaved during the year. However, this version of Santa travels with a sidekick called Pierre Foutonde, who helps keep track of children who have been naughty. So, apparently what Pré Foutard does, apparently when children leave out the cookies and milk for Santa, he just sends him in. He and Pierre Foutonde eats the cookies and milk and just leaves them with nothing, apparently.
Wow.
I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing these names right. I'm sure my dad will pronounce them better because he was born and raised in France before he moved here.
So Santa, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, the Pré Foutard. If you've been naughty, he's the one who eats your milk and cookies.
Oh.
All right.
I have to bring this up actually. So all the year, I was actually listening recently to last year's podcast, and I realised how I never brought this up. But when I was younger, it wasn't so much leaving cookies out for Santa, even though maybe we did a little bit, I'm not sure. But we'd leave milk out for Santa, and we'd leave a carrot out for the reindeer instead.
I'm sure some people do that as well. They leave a carrot for the reindeer.
I think later on I started to realise one was really going on.
Excuse me.
And then there'd always be like half a carrot there, and you think, well, the reindeer will be hungry.
Yeah.
There's half of the carrot left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Happened to me.
just reading a little further on with the Pierre Noël, along with the Pré Foutard, also known as the Whipping Father, he also apparently spanks children who have not behaved throughout the year. So that's another thing he does.
With a wooden spoon.
Oh god, the incredibly slow murder with a useless weapon.
Yes. Oh god.
Well, that's going to be in the character of mine now.
That's going to be that. I wouldn't be surprised if that was played around Christmas, just so kids are reminded this is what awaits you if you misbehave.
But it was fun with the eyes in the back of his head.
No, it'd be like a demon.
Okay. Excuse me. In Mexico, in the days leading up to El Dia de Reyes, children in Spain and other Hispanic countries will write letters to their favorite mago, or the three wise men, Melchior, Casper, and Balthazar. So apparently they're the ones who give out gifts at Christmas in the Spanish countries.
Oh.
Makes sense, I guess.
For the friendly ghost tactic.
So yeah, at night, children will leave out sweets for the Magi, or the wise men, and hay for their camels. So apparently the wise men have been immortalized along with their camels.
So, they're also nice?
So instead of leaving out a carrot, they leave out hay.
Oh. That's an odd word.
I mean, where did they even get hay? A carrot I can understand, but a sprig of hay? I don't know.
Unless you own it, hey, I don't know.
What are your thoughts on that, Dudley?
I'm thinking, do they like spend a good month growing hay to do it, or do they like is it just that?
Well, I guess if it's the last thing to grow before winter sets in, I guess why not? And one of the most ridiculous festive gift givers I've read about is this one.
Okay.
And it's called Tio De Nadal. And this is another Spanish gift giver, apparently. And basically, it's a log with a painted-on smiley face who is placed within a family's house at Christmas. But that's not where the weirdness...
From Mad Hatter Nettie.
Oh, Plank, yeah. But that's not the weirdest part about this, because apparently Tio De Nadal is more commonly found in the Catalonian region of Spain. So children place Tio De Nadal under the Christmas tree and they feed him nuts and dried fruit in the days leading up to Christmas, while simultaneously keeping him warm under a blanket. And on Christmas Eve, the children then proceed to beat it with sticks and sing a rather graphic song about bodily functions.
What?
And the next morning, it's defecated a pile of gifts and sweets for them.
What?
Well, this took a turn suddenly.
And I'll repeat that because it bears repeating. So they bring in this adorable-looking log creature. They treat it as a pet. They give it food. They give it a cozy blanket. And on Christmas Eve, they then proceed to beat it senseless like a piñata in hopes that it will defecate their gifts for them. Does he enjoy the beatings? Does he do it out of spite? Like, you care for me.
That's a roller coaster and a half.
You care for me for 24 days, and this is how you treat me? Well, I'll show you.
No.
I was half expecting you to end the story with them throwing it on the fire afterwards.
Jesus Christ. No, that's literally all I've got. Like, what?
Wow.
Why? Ugh.
I'm kind of speechless.
Look after it and they shock it so much it just spits out treats like, oh no!
Not spits, it poops them out, specifically.
Oh.
Well, yes.
Okay.
But, despite all that, the last one I have is a little more lighthearted. So, in Australia, Australia has a Santa, of course. However, Christmas is celebrated in summer, in case you're not aware. And because it gets too hot for reindeer, Santa instead enlists the help of 6 kangaroos called the 6 White Boomers.
Of course.
I have heard of this.
It's like everything that goes into Australia suddenly turns out into something completely different. Like, if you place a pig in Australia, it'll eventually turn into a razorback. You place a stray dog in Australia, it'll turn into a dingo. You have Santa fly through Australia, instead of reindeer pulling his sleigh, he'll have 6 kangaroos.
Christmas dinner will be a barbecue.
I am learning too much.
Yeah, anything that enters Australia suddenly becomes completely different. Like, they just put it into a machine and it comes out as something completely outlandish.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of all these different things, right? That it's different cultures, different lifestyles, all the good stuff. So,
So, what are your thoughts on that, Kage? Anything you want to add?
Oh wow, I just got finished soaking all this knowledge in that you bestowed upon me.
I'm the same.
I think the one, I forgot which country it was, the one where you're talking about Saint Nicholas. That's actually something that gets celebrated in the Netherlands next along Christmas.
Ooh,
It's a separate thing.
really?
Oh, how fun.
Basically, like, every time I try to explain this to someone outside the Netherlands, I kept reflecting back on my words and I'm thinking, hold on a second. I kind of think I'm talking about Santa Claus. Because it's basically Saint Nicholas. It's also a dude with a red outfit, a long beard, passes out gifts, has little helpers who helps him. I'm like, oh, when people ask me about this, I like, go on Wikipedia and you'll find out. It's the best way I can describe it to you.
I see.
I don't know if I know, but I probably don't know.
Well, I think that pretty much sums up what the gift givers are like around the world. So, yeah. So if you live in Catalonia in Spain, treat Tio De Nadal pretty well. Just why? Why do you need to beat him senseless?
Go easy on him.
Yeah. Happy holidays from the TBI Podcast. Well, we have just enough time before the year comes to a close to dive into the month's most ridiculous headlines.
Yeah.
Favorite of the day.
Okay, in this month's news, a hungry photographer deletes all of his photos and leaves after being denied food at a wedding he was attending.
Oh.
Story.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
This poor guy just wanted some food, and when he was denied it, he was like, oh, you're gonna deny me food? Well, how'd you like it if I denied you your memories? Delete.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like food either. He was on his feet all day in like sweltering weather. This was in America, I believe, so it can get really hot there throughout the day.
Oh.
From the serious point of
All
view.
day, limited to water, no food. Taking pictures for what I think was quite cheap, and they were like, no, you can't eat.
Jeez.
This is for the guests.
Wow.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Dudley?
Just keep moving on, man.
Well, same boat as Rowan, really. Seems a bit mean, considering all the stuff he was doing. So.
Thoughts, Kage?
I mean, I can't blame the person. Like, you've been hired to do a job and basically treated like you're in kindergarten. Just stand there, take pictures. You cannot touch the food. You cannot touch this. Well, I would have reacted the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be the same.
So maybe next time treat your photographers with respect, because you'll never know what you have until it's gone.
True.
Okay, moving on to the next headline. Try to take this headline with a grain of salt, so just bear with me.
Okay.
To avoid gay marriage in some parts of Alabama, they have officially banned weddings altogether.
Oh.
Congratulations, Alabama. You've made a state where nobody can live. So, you make the rules, get out.
Oh, well.
In some parts of Alabama.
No, I'm just going by the headlines logic here. So, now the entire state has officially been unavailable to everyone. The straights. So basically, the majority of the population can no longer live there. I'm just looking at this little post in the comments of this news article. It's the Game Boy version from Pokemon. It's saying, it hurt itself in its confusion.
Yeah.
So, unbelievable. I mean, why would you want to ban weddings? You must be out of your mind.
My gosh.
You must have enough power.
The people in Alabama, I presume, if they leave Alabama, they get married and then come back, they're allowed in.
Well, I mean, if you're a straight person, it still counts, so you still can't be there, so, yeah. Anyway, moving on to the next headline, and golly. The Christmas tinner is a real product that you can buy, and it's a full-course Christmas dinner in a tin.
Tin?
Oh god, it looks disgusting. It looks absolutely disgusting. Because it's just, from a cross-section, it's like all the different layers of what everything's meant to represent. Like, oh yeah, the green layer, oh, that's the sprouts. Oh, that cream-coloured one at the top, oh yeah, that's the mashed potatoes. Ugh. God, it's horrific.
It reminds me of something that will show up in Gordon Ramsay.
Thoughts, Dudley? Have you seen that around?
No. I don't want to.
Thank God. Surely this is for a last resort. If you've got literally nothing else, this is your best option. But I don't even think the poor would eat this.
Well,
Oh God. I had to get that off my screen. I'm sorry. Ugh.
Nasty burp.
Moving on from that, the last headline that I have is this one. Scientists speculate that the reason behind reindeer fly is magic mushrooms.
Want to try that sentence again?
I'll repeat it. Scientists speculate that the legend behind reindeer flying is the result of magic mushrooms.
Yeah?
So, apparently, in different Inuit colonies throughout the world, they are in touch with nature and everything around them, and sometimes they collect mushrooms because, why not? And it's also speculated that even reindeer eat magic mushrooms if they're unlucky enough. And of course, these magic mushrooms would cause hallucinations in the Inuit people, causing them to have hallucinations about talking animals and reindeer flying. Is this beginning to sound familiar?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
No, it's not really.
So, the entire legend of Santa could almost be originated from magic mushrooms.
Bad trip.
My childhood is ruined. Like,
Well,
I'm starting to think most of human society's way.
you know, I was thinking about this headline not too long ago, and it came to the part where I was reading that even the reindeer eat these magic mushrooms. So it's just, imagine what they see, just a bunch of Inuit people just flying on all fours in the sky. Like, is that what they see?
Felt like they could fly.
What you were going to say, the reindeer eat the magic mushrooms, and it's like, no, dude, I really flew. Sure you did. No, I remember.
that could be like an animation.
Oh, man, you wouldn't believe that. I mean, I was a clone of myself. There was at least 8 other versions of me, and there was this red guy who was just whipping me like that log creature in Catalonia. It was wild.
Oh no.
So, yeah. To those Inuit people, if you want to enjoy your magic mushrooms, then I'm not gonna say no, but that's out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the month's headlines, and that's basically the year's headlines. So, yeah.
And now I'm tired.
Happy to get on.
Happy holidays from the TBI Podcast. Well, this is the last segment we're going to do before this podcast comes to a close and this year comes to a close. So, Dudley, you had something you wanted to bring up? Go ahead.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do have something to bring up. So, So, as you know, in many previous podcasts, we have talked about live action movies, and you'll know my view on movies like Alvin and the Chipmunks,
Yeah.
or The Smurfs, or
Yeah.
things where I always used to say I don't like the idea of taking live action characters and just throwing them in the middle of New York City, because that seems a trick how they just do that. Now, recently we've had the live action Sonic film, we've had Detective Pikachu, and we've had a couple of other things here and there that are escaping my memory. And it seemed like, going in the right direction now. Paddington, actually, that's a good one as well. But
Mm-hmm.
And I went with my brother to go and see something the other night. And I saw a poster, and as you well know, it's going to be a live-action Clifford the Big Red Dog film.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, okay, maybe things have come a long way, and it looks like it could have the charm of Paddington. I'm not ruling that out yet. But the poster had him in the middle of New York.
Oh, dear.
Oh, come on.
But I was like, oh God, no. And then I was also like, to be fair, if Clifford the Big Red Dog existed, New York does seem like maybe an ample choice for where he lives, because I can't remember from my childhood where he's supposed to live.
He famously lives on Birdwell Island, where he has enough open space to run around and frolic with the other dogs.
Fair, but where is Birdwell Island? Is it America?
It's never specified. The story goes, Emily Elizabeth adopts this little red puppy who suddenly grows to the size of the house, and they live in a big city. He grows too big for it, and ultimately they move out to this island where they now reside, and Clifford now has all the space he needs. So, yeah.
Yeah. So this seems like his origin story. So, I mean, maybe New York is the ample choice. Maybe it will be charming and it's just coincidental. Now, I went to see the new Ghostbusters film a couple of nights ago, which is very good, and Michael's seen it.
Yeah.
I saw another poster for it, and it was a Christmas-themed one, and he was in front of the big, from what looked like the big New York Christmas tree that you see in like Home Alone and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought, okay, that looks quite cute. So maybe it is a step in the right direction, and also that's how it fit into this because it was Christmas themed, so that worked out.
Yeah, I remember watching Clifford the Big Red Dog on TV when I was a child. Yeah, it was charming. I enjoyed it. However, does Clifford talk in this movie? I don't know, but he famously talks in the show, so I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, the movie I personally am looking forward to, and Rowan, it's coming with me, This Saturday coming, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yes. So, from the recent trailers, now we know that the Lizard is confirmed in this movie, and the Sandman is also confirmed. So, we are potentially dealing with a Sinister Six situation. But who is going to be number 6?
I don't think I'm not sure if it is a Sinister Six situation as much as it's just coincidental that all of the enemies have arrived at the same time. There is a post-credit scene at the end of Venom versus Carnage that shows stuff as well, which is very interesting. But I won't say what it is in case nobody's seen it. But now, I did think of something that could be interesting for the film, and I don't know if I shared it before, but I was thinking, people were saying, oh, are we going to get Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in as Spider-Man, obviously. People were kind of that. And then I thought of something. This is just a massive guess. If they did this, I'll be shocked, but it would be amazing. What if Emma Stone is in it as Gwen Spider-Girl, but from a different universe, and Andrew Garfield runs into her?
Ooh. Well, I mean, the multiverse is infinite, and Doctor Strange is definitely going to be in a heap of trouble in the next few years, so who knows?
You see in the trailer Spider-Man jumping down to save Mary Jane from falling, and it's there like, you totally know, is Andrew Garfield gonna swoop in and save her? And I was like, if Gwen swooped in and saved her,
ooh, that would be quite a twist.
Yeah.
But in terms of characters that I'm curious about, if this film is leading to a Sinister Six, I still think who could possibly be number 6, because our only options from the live-action movies are either version of Venom or the Rhino from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because, on one hand, having a Venom in the MCU would be amazing, but at the same time, we were owed a fight between Spider-Man and the Rhino in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, but that never happened because that was literally right before the credits rolled, and that franchise got cancelled because that film didn't exactly do too well. So, if they brought the Rhino back, it better be an all-out brawl.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here we've got, like, from the trailer, Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, Electro, Sandman, Lizard, and then it's left open. Would the Vulture be in it again? Will, if Venom was in it, I don't think Venom would be part of the Sinister Six, because I don't think he was before, to my knowledge. I don't know.
He was with Happy. Anyway.
So, yeah, but that's just the villain side of things. As we've brought up before, the biggest question on everyone's minds is, will Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield be returning as their versions of Spider-Man? Because even if they weren't, as we've seen it with the recent trailer, even if Tom Holland is on his own, what on earth is the Lizard aiming at in that one scene? Because if it's free against one, I think if it's free against one, Lizard, Tom Holland's that way. What are you possibly aiming at unless there was someone digitally edited out?
Well, I think they've tricked us, and we've actually seen a Spider-Man in that trailer that isn't Tom Holland, but we think it is. Like, I think they've done that thing where they show us the stuff. And also, I forgot what I was going to say after that. That was basically my point.
Kage?
I think trailers are not always like 100% believable. Primary example would be when they made trailers for Avengers Infinity War. They had the Hulk running with the whole team, but he did not transform, only at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie, like, he was too scared to come out, but they put it in the trailers. So that's kind of misleading.
Yep.
Yeah.
Along with the number of stones in Thanos' gauntlet, like in that one scene, he had 4, but in the trailers he famously only had 2, so it leaves it open. Where's the story gonna go?
Yeah. I've heard one thing. The creators of the show, of the No Way Home, sorry, they tweeted or something, and they said, "We know people were expecting Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire to be in it, but we want people to not get their hopes up and just take it for what it is." And it's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Marvel's notorious for like outright lying.
Yeah.
But in the good way. They always try to hide the best parts.
Yeah.
So yeah, until then, we've still got Hawkeye, which I'm looking
yeah.
through. So, looking through that show, could we potentially be getting Kingpin in the MCU next? Well, who knows? Oh, Dudley, just before we bring this podcast to a close, are you looking forward to Spider-Man No Way Home? Do you have any interest in seeing that?
I want to see it Thursday. I've been excited for it for ages.
So, why is it you're interested in seeing this film, and yet Into the Spider-Verse isn't at the top of your list?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's because these characters have been established for ages, and I've grown to like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. It's also live action. I know this Dr. Octopus, so I can pinpoint how certain characters are probably going to act. I think Dr. Octopus might team up with Spider-Man.
Well, the thing is, you can say that about anything. Like, you could have somebody saying they hate Avengers Endgame because it cross-promotes all of these characters. Like, they're in it because they're in it, and doesn't it still look cool?
I mean, I feel like I gave you the wrong impression in that podcast, because I did like Into the Spider-Verse. I just didn't think it was absolutely amazing, because when I watched it and I thought, I heard stuff like most of it had been done in Photoshop and it was very artistic. I loved the Dr. Octopus reveal in that film. Like, there are moments I thought were cool, but it's also the reason I'm looking forward to this more, even though is because the characters I can relate to now. Like, all the characters in Endgame, off the top of my head, we'd seen their backstory, we'd grown with them for a few years and stuff. Whereas when you bring in a new Spider-Man or a new Dr. Octopus or Kingpin or whatever, you have to take them for what they are in their first appearance, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For me personally.
Well, who knows? Maybe by the next Into the Spider-Verse film, that'll change, potentially. That has been announced as well.
Well, I don't know. Well, I will give them even more marks if something from Into the Spider-Verse ends up in this film. Because
my god, if those characters appeared in the post-credit scene, like, Tom Holland, we need your help.
Yeah. Or if we get the Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse in No Way Home, so we've got 4 Spider-Man or something, you know, I'll be like, I'll read that up. I'll be like, oh, cool, okay.
Well, guess we're gonna have to wait until Wednesday for that answer to emerge. But until then, guys, that's just about it for this podcast. So, anything you want to add before we sign off?
Nope.
Everybody have a good Christmas.
Yeah.
Kage, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking with you. So yes, the holidays are right around the corner, but don't forget, there's a lot of new things to look forward to in the next few years, like the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, the long-awaited sequel.
Excited.
Yes. You've also got Marvel dishing out tons of new things for the MCU, one of them being the Multiverse of Madness. Oh boy. Doctor Strange, you better be ready for this. And also, Buzz Lightyear getting his own movie. That's going to be good.
Definitely.
Halo's getting its own TV series. Boba Fett's TV series is coming out, which I'm personally like, yes!
Yeah, they.
So yeah, just try to keep your spirits up. We know there's a new variant of COVID running around, but this time we know what to deal. We know what to do. We know how to deal with it. So just enjoy the holiday and everything that it offers, and we will see you next year for whatever else lies ahead. So happy holidays. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.